Hi, I'm Tami Enright. I'm the co-founder and executive director for the Bee Cause Project, and I have the pleasure of interviewing Ted Dennard at Savannah Bee Company today.
Hey, I'm Ted Dennard. I'm the owner of Savannah Bee Company, and we're here to talk about bees and business. We are going into our bee garden, so welcome. We do tours here every day, and we take groups of people that most of them have never even been exposed to honeybees, not in like a hive setting. We try and keep it blooming all the time, like successive blooms, and it looks a little underwhelming right now, but it does look better at different times of the year. And anyway, come on. We have a mulberry tree we just walked under. These are pear trees. We have an apple tree. Actually, you can see the apple, so that's like a really great way to make the connection. When people are coming back here, we can talk about pollination, how important it is. And even though most of you are beekeepers, you probably don't know that bees visit over 500 million flowers every year. Each colony does. So every colony, every beehive is going to visit over 500 million flowers. And that's a tremendous amount of pollination. We all know they pollinate, but we don't know they pollinate that much, right? That's a ton. And I watch birds and squirrels and everything eating the mulberries, and I eat the mulberries, and anyway, it's we've got hollies, we've got citrus, so this is a great place to kind of show that off. But this is it, right? It also is a great way for people to see that bees are sweet, right? You just look at them; they're just so cute, and they're not stinging, and they're all over the place, right?
And you open this up for tours?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, we do tours every day, not maybe Sundays of the week, but yeah, every other day we do tours, 2, 3, 4 different times a day. And it's just getting busier and busier and busier. So people are excited about bees, and we do this whole in-depth bee experience. So you guys are beekeepers, so you already know about opening hives and lighting smokers and pulling frames out and the smells and the sounds and putting your finger in there and tasting the honey. And so they all get to do that for the first time. And so that's incredible. We also then take them into our store. We have an observation beehive, which we'll show you. We let them do a honey tasting, mead tasting, honey wines, if they're old enough. And show all these other products that bees, contribute to making with their beeswax, honey, royal jelly, propolis, and all that. And there's bee pollen and bee venom. So there are some splits. 3 of these are splits where I had 3 queens that I'd gotten, and so I split like a strong hive in the spring into 2, added a queen to the one that didn't have a queen, and yeah, they really worked well. Yeah. That's probably the best splits I've ever done. Yeah. This tall one right here, where you're like, wow, there's no bees in here. They're all coming in and out of the back. This was a stack of just like combs that I was like, man, we're just gonna have to trash all these, not the frame, the wooden part, but we're gonna have to cut out all the rotten, nasty old combs from hives that had died. So I just had this stack of boxes, and then I came in the bee garden one day, and this huge swarm. I'm like, oh my God, these bees are leaving. What hive are they leaving from? And I'm looking, I couldn't tell. And then I'm like, wait a minute, they're coming. And they came in like a tornado coming in, and they went into this stack of boxes that was over there. And so we picked it up and moved it. So there, if you come around the back, they're like tons of them. So yeah, that's what we've done. And then there's another thing, which is my very favorite thing, and that's our bee therapy house. And there's something you don't know called Beehive air therapy, or maybe you know, but not many people have known. And I got introduced to it in 2013, back I was in Kiev, Ukraine. And so in the Ukraine, so every other year, on the odd years, there's an international beekeeping congress called Apimondia, and it is incredible. But at this workshop, and there's like 5 or 8 different lectures going on concurrently, all the time. So you got to pick and choose what you do. And I always pick the apitherapy ones because I love using bee products for medicinal purposes. And I learned about everything, propolis and bee venom therapy, and this place. Beehive air therapy. I'd never even heard of it. Wow. But they had pictures of all of these little huts across this farm, and people were just laying in there with their headscarves, and it looked like in all sorts of maladies, I mean, really serious illnesses. But they were going there to get well. And so that's where I was introduced to it. And so by 2014, maybe, I guess we had built one, and we have it.
Okay. Well, this is an awesome experience. I know people pay to come out here or donate to the Bee Cause to come out here, and now this is something else that you've added to the list, the Bee Hut.
Yes.
You want to show us what's
the
inside?
Bee Hut. It's like a bee. I know it is the Bee Hut.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to enunciate that. Yeah, the bee therapy house.
Yeah.
Here, let's go around back and first and look and see what's going on. So inside here, obviously, these are the entrances to 4 beehives, and these doors come off. You lift up, and then the hive slides out on these like a drawer pull, and it's only 4 boxes tall, and so unfortunately they swarm fairly often because they just run out of space, and we're not managing them as well as we should have probably. But the whole point is you have bees in there, and it's the air, the beehive air, that's supposed to be so beneficial. So the little volatiles of the beeswax, they're ripening the honey, collecting the nectar, they're fanning their little wings to dry out the nectar into honey. All of that's going into the air. There's little microparticles of the propolis, and then the royal jelly that they're feeding the brood food, and all of that's going up and there's 2 things. One, I learned at one of these conferences that beekeepers live longer than any other profession. So I think part of it is breathing this air, right? That I never had heard about. Another thing I learned at this conference, there's always something to learn about bees, right? is that there's 14 probiotic bacteria in fresh honey. So in the honey stomach that the bees have, the little honey crop, they have these probiotic bacteria that they've evolved in the hive and in their honey stomach to be resistant to the antimicrobial properties of honey, because honey is antimicrobial, but they are resistant. And what they do is they stop the nectar from fermenting as they transport it back to the hive. They say it would already start to ferment on their way back if they didn't have these. And so that is inside the fresh honey. So honey that's like 2 months old, made within the last 2 months, is supposed to be better for you because you still have those probiotic bacteria in it before they get killed off eventually by the sugars. So people don't know, actually, I don't even know how to introduce this to people because it's like, well, just go in there and you can meditate. Or I usually start meditating and then I take a nap. But I love it.
So Ted, how did you get someone here to build it? If
We just
really like the first of its kind here in the States,
we made it up. We made it up. And so, so I'm not an engineer or scientist or anything like that, but I was under the impression, like, if the air is good for you and if the little micro volatiles in there, that if we made the ceiling like this, then the air molecules would concentrate in the smaller surface. I'm sure that makes no sense whatsoever, but that's why we have this shape, which ended up being a beehive shape, kind of hexagonal. But you can just sit in here and you breathe the air, and already I can feel it, like it's calming. There's something about bees that is relaxing and calming. So.
I think that's why beekeepers live longer, because you have to be calm around them. That's one of the reasons, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I definitely think so. Yeah. So that little zen kind of, all right, going in the hive, you're deliberately moving. It's kind of like if you're ever rock climbing, you're really focused. It's kind of the same thing. But yeah, it's warm, and you hear them and you smell them. That's the other thing. You hear things that you don't hear when you're opening the hive because they're just doing their normal thing, and your ears are right there, and you hear like a collective hum, and then you'll hear beep, 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 these little different sounds that you just don't normally hear. And then I doze off, and and I wake up, and I swear it's just like I think there's an energy. There's this energetic thing. If all matter is just energy at a different wavelength, right? That frequency, then I think the frequency coming off of these little girls is there's something magic and healing about that too. So this is Ted's theories. Like I've kept bees for 42 years now, I think, and so it's been a lifelong love and passion, and The most beehives I've ever had was 50, and that was really more than I could handle. But that's what I made the honey with, and that's what I started the company with. And so I actually started even with fewer than that. But then once I saw I could sell some honey, I decided to buy into a lot more bees, which was the 50 beehives. And then I moved them around, started making the Tupelo honey, and then I'd take them and make honeycombs on this other forest. And then I'd take them up to the mountains and make this sourwood honey. And then I made lip balms and candles with the wax. And that's how the Savannah Bee Company got started. And man, has it grown. A lot bigger than I ever would have imagined. Hey, welcome to the Bee Company. This is our showroom store in the front of our office. The observation beehive. This has always been a big win. I love it. There's a lot of people that work in this building. There's probably 35 or so. Not all of the people that work here are beekeepers. So this is their not only introduction, but many people's only up close and encounter with honeybees.
I know that you've put this in some other places where even beekeepers watch it and they're mesmerized because it's really hard, even as a beekeeper, to see bees, without being bothered in some way. I mean, they really are doing their thing. As soon as you pull a frame out of a Langstroth hive, everybody's changed their behavior, right? This
is like looking through a cross section of a tree, a hollow tree out there, and where you have a beehive and seeing what's really going on inside. So, they get used to all the activity outside, and so they do what they always do. And the hole where they come and go is through the wall right here. That's for the record. You don't see it.
I don't see
it's
that
hard.
hole. Are you sure they're going in and
Trust
out?
me. All right, so this is sourwood honey, and you can kind of tell from the color, the rosy hue to it. Sometimes it's a little purpley, kind of like the bottom of storm cloud or something sometimes. That's sourwood honey. That's a hardwood tree that grows up in the mountains. And this is one of the most award-winning honeys in the entire world. So this is one of my, it's actually one of everybody's favorites because it's that good. So that's the honey I used to take and the bees up to the mountains to make. This is the honey that, the Tupelo honey, and you can kind of see that it almost has a greenish cast to it. This one's from 2019, so it's a couple years old, but it's still delicious. Neither one of these is ever going to granulate. You look in the bottoms, they're perfect, meaning they're more fructose than glucose. A lot of the big flowering trees are more fructose heavy than glucose, whereas your little clovers and ground flowers, a lot of those are more glucose than fructose. They granulate quick, and these just will never actually. And the sweet, actually, it's a softer sweet. We can talk about that too. But this one is that bubble, gummy, yummy, delicious taste from those river trees.
Just out of curiosity, how do you get the gold seal or the best of? This
we entered into that. So in 2019 at the World Beekeeping Congress, we entered this and got 3rd place.
Awesome.
And I think we would have gotten 1st if it weren't for the air bubbles in there.
Okay.
So here, and I'd been a beekeeper, right, for 20-something years. When I made Tupelo honey, that's when I'm like, I'm not putting this in some little, yucky looking jar. I'm putting it in this pretty bottle because this honey is different than every honey out there. And that's sort of what made my company stand out. It wasn't because I had a business background and was differentiating myself in the marketplace or any of that. It just so happened that that's what happened when I was sort of snobbishly saying this honey is better than any honey out there. So I'm going to make it look prettier than any honey out there. But it's got a lot of media attention and press. And so it helped me launch the company. All right, well, let's just look through the office. Yeah. Basically, I never knew anything about business, so one thing I think is really, I love it, and I like to share like that. You know, if I can do a business, anybody can do a business, and there's just some certain little things that are similar across any business that you have. And this is the back office, right? You got to have people who do supply chain, right? So I got to have a guy that orders all the jars, the caps, the labels, make sure that the lip balms are getting filled at the right time, the right flavor, that we have the cardboard boxes to put everything in. There's a lot of things that go into it that you don't really think about. So you have a supply chain person, you've got a graphic designer to draw things and make amazing emails and t-shirts. You have a marketing director that runs the whole shop as far as making sure everything looks good, that the designs and the videos and the pictures and the products and the signage and the communication to media outlets or whatever it is that we're trying to do, the stores, that they all look good. We have somebody that does all the books, right? You got to make sure you get the people pay you and that you pay the people that you owe. Okay, we're on the office tour. We have little meeting rooms. We have a kitchen, break room. We have a guy that does all of our financial stuff. So making sure that we've got money in the bank, that we have. We're looking way down the road to make sure we can afford to buy the honey when the honey gets made. And on and on and on, and dealing with taxes and all kinds of the stuff that I could never possibly do. Does anybody have no? Right on. Hold on. We have a food safe lab here, so. Yeah. And what you're going to see is just a ton of boxes and pallets filled with boxes, and some boxes are just empty boxes that you put stuff in, and some boxes have product in it, like bottles of honey or lip balms, or, well, we'll just walk through and see what we got. We have honey straws that we have to put together. Where are they? Well, so yeah, we get honey straws that we actually have somebody else fill them. It's our honey, or the honey that we send to them. We put them in little packs. We put them inside this, and then we ship that to stores. Pretty nifty. And we do lip balm kits, and we just had to assemble 1,000 single little 12-ounce bottles in shippers so that we could send them off to some corporate gift client that, I don't know, they ordered a bunch of gifts. Thank goodness. And we do things like a honey book where we will put 6 different honeys in here, and we tell a little story. And those are good, and people get to try different ones, and we have little honey samplers and little lip balm samplers and things like that. Try not to do a whole lot of things that require assembly, because that just takes more work than you think. And when you're doing like 10 or 12, no problem. Let's tie the bow. Let's do that. But then when you're doing, 1,000, you're like, oh no. That's when you realize, you know what, let's make this easy.
When did you pick your logo? How did you pick your logo?
It started out, I'll show you. But yeah, I hand painted something in the beginning. It's really terrible. And I would just tape it on with clear packing tape onto a jar. And then I got then I took a photocopy of a bee from a magazine, and I just put it on there and had Savannah Bee on it, and I just did it on the computer and made prints at the local copy store. And then I had somebody draw me a bee because they said I was infringing on somebody else's intellectual property or something. And so they drew a bee, and then we put 3 of them together, and that's it. Kind of evolved. So that's how we got the logo. But that happened 22 years ago. Okay, so what else do we do? We ship a bunch of web orders, and so yeah, when people go online and they order either from SavannahBee.com or from Amazon, even it comes in through here, and we have the wonderful web shipping team here, and they print the order out. They pick it. It prints the shipping label. It prints what they ordered. We used to pack in styrofoam peanuts. Now we use this Xiaomi paper, which can be recycled and it looks better and it's way more environmentally friendly. So we pack in that and in recyclable cardboard. And everywhere we can make that choice to like not use plastic or to use something that's recyclable, we do. So over the years, and it's little incremental improvements, right? We get here and then we change and change. But one thing I have learned from being in the Peace Corps and from being in business is it's the little incremental changes. It's the little things that over time build up, and that's how you can make change, right? It's not like sweeping change, right? We're just going to change everything right now. That never works, just in my experience. But that we do a lot of packages that ship out of here. How many packages do you think we've shipped, Maureen, this week?
This week I can tell you right now.
They are really good. There used to be we just shipped one or two. I was talking to a beekeeper. 872. Good job. The other thing that we try and do, so we're not just trying to do recycled cardboard. Look, we have the Bee Calls logo. That's the not-for-profit that Tammy is running. We have this. It says, honeybees have helped shape our world for 100 million years and are the unsung heroines of the planet. So we're trying to teach people. And then this is a quote by Victor Hugo. Life is the flower for which love is the honey. So, it's the little things, again, like little tiny things that somebody reads. And this is the mailman or the stock woman or whoever, and has grown.
Why did you start a nonprofit, Chad?
Well, that was to raise awareness, and through that make change again, right? And we wanted to do that with schools. And so we started with 1 school and 2 schools and 3 schools. And I'd say collective we, it's really Tammy that's been doing this. And so we're into hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of schools. And so it's grown again over the last 7 years into all 50 states, all Canadian provinces, Haiti, Puerto Rico, and the Bahamas. And it just keeps on going. And so we're just trying to educate and again, just raise awareness about how important honeybees are. So, and you guys are part of that. So I know that through your beekeeping, you have your parents and your friends are like, what are you doing? And then you start talking about it and then they're fascinated. And then it's like throwing a pebble in a pond. It just ripples out from there. Okay, more cardboard. But inside all this stuff is like health and beauty products. We make everything, shampoos to heel balms and lotions and soaps. And in here we have honeycombs. And we have honeycombs and honeycombs and honeycombs.
Do you know where all of these are going?
Honeycombs.
Big pallets of honeycombs?
No, but I sure do hope we are able to sell them all. Because that's a lot. It's a lot of honeycomb. So once the honey's bottled, we bring it in here, and this is where we pull from when we're shipping. So if we get orders for our wholesale shipping department, and that's a store, like that's the little specialty grocery store in your town, or the little boutique store, or the Ace Hardware, or wherever that sells our products, they put an order with our customer service people, who then give it to the wholesale shipping team, and then they, instead of units, they're assembling cases that they put in bigger boxes that go out FedEx every day. So, and then we have bigger customers that order on pallets, and so those all get built and shipped out. But yeah, we have little 3-ounce jars, 12-ounce jars, those tall ones, the honeycombs. We have buckets of honey, jugs of honey. And then in here, we have got a raw material room. So in this room, we now have lots of emptied bottles. We have little bottles, jars, lids, all those things that you got to put together and put the honey in, right? So this is the honey. This is some orange blossom honey from this year, which is the most beautiful, lightest, best we've ever had, like in forever, right? This stuff is so good. Here we have Jason, Tupelo honey. You can just see by the color, that little yellowy, greenish, yummy. So here's what we do. We take this fresh, raw honey. Look at that. Right. So Jason here, he's the honey man. He takes care of every barrel. He unloaded 50 barrels of Tupelo honey today from beekeeping. And he's brought it in, cataloged it, and he's got all the drums numbered, and now he's making a batch of honey, which we will bottle tomorrow. So we use this attachment. It's really simple, right? And he's gonna dump the honey in, and then we're gonna pump it and bottle it. You don't have to do anything to honey, as you know. It's the only food that never spoils. There it goes. It's got lots of air bubbles, lots of even wax particles in it because it just got extracted. And the beekeepers that we're working with have so many beehives that they use like, pretty sophisticated extraction. Like they have things that automatically cut all the cappings off and big extractors that spin the combs. And so they get a lot of air, a lot of wax. It takes a couple months. So these first bottles that we fill are gonna end up with a little cake on the top of air bubbles and little wax particles.